Let's do our power rankings, David Collier.
Mid-80s.
Okay.
I believe I went first last week.
All right. I'm horrible at the tiering thing. I think we figured this out at this point. So I'll just go 16-1. We basically fleshed out the bottom four, rather. Oklahoma State, West Virginia, UCF, and Colorado remain my bottom four. There was no movement there at all for me. This is where it gets weird. There's a lot of different. As I mentioned earlier, I feel more like an AP voter the further along we go with these power rankings. At number 12, the Kansas State Wildcats. I have them drop a spot. They were 11th last week. They flip-flop with the Arizona Wildcats, who had a bye week this past week against Oklahoma State. And this one hurts me. It pains me, but I just don't think their offense is necessarily that good and good enough. And if the quarterback doesn't come out of the locker room for the first half of their next game, I don't know how good they're going to be. At number 10, dropping 5 spots, the Houston Cougars.
I dropped them last week.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was a fall from grace for me. Right above them at number 9, Kansas, 8, Baylor, and this is all murky, this whole group right here. But since Baylor won their game, I still had them drop with their win. But you know what Baylor scares me about Baylor? If you're playing them and you're not on the schedule, they can win close games.
Yeah.
They figure out a way to win. It might not be pretty, but they're able to do it. So that's kind of, but still, they're 8. TCU at 7. Both of those teams dropping, and I think you'll find out why here in a second. At 6, I have Utah, and it's just because I think I'm rewarding teams that have won their conference games, maybe too much at this point. 5, dropping 3 spots, Iowa State. And they're dropping because I have to put Cincinnati in front of them because they lost to Cincinnati. Cincinnati jumps 4 spots, but they're not my biggest jumper. At number 3, I have BYU.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the contenders for the Big 12 championship. I don't know that anybody else at this point is contending for me. I'm sure that will change. Number 2, Arizona State, and I think it goes without saying. Number 1.
We have the same top 6, but not in the same order.
Yeah. And again, my 1 through 4 is because they're the undefeateds.
Yeah.
At this point, I know it's some people have not played enough conference, but they're all 2-0. So I think I'm going to put them in my top 4 for that reason.
Lucas, what do you have?
At 16, I have Oklahoma State. And then working my way down, I have West Virginia, Colorado, Houston, UCF, Kansas State, and Kansas. So that's 16 through 10. At 9, I have Arizona, 8 Baylor, 7 Utah, and 6 TCU. And then 5 all the way down to 1, I have Iowa State at 5, Cincinnati 4, BYU 3, Arizona State 2, and Tech at 1.
So we all have the same top 3 at BYU, Arizona State, and Texas Tech. My final 4 or last 4, bottom 4, whatever you want to call them, same as last week: Oklahoma State, West Virginia, UCF, Kansas State.
Hater.
The next 4: Colorado, Houston, Arizona, all the same as last week. I'm pretty certain that's just how it's going to be the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see a lot of movement in those 6. 7, whatever it is. Baylor with a win drops to 9. Kansas with a win drops to 8. TCU, Iowa State, Cincinnati. Cincinnati up from 9 to 5, I believe. Utah stays at 4. BYU jumps even further to 3. 2 weeks ago, they were 9. But I've seen enough of this offense to think that they can be competitive. Arizona State up to 2, replacing Iowa State. and Texas Tech number 1.
Receiving all first place votes.
Receiving all first place votes, yes. And there are other teams that I would move with a win. Like I don't know who BYU plays this week. If BYU does enough this week, I think even with an Arizona State win over Utah, if in a certain type of way, I could imagine BYU moving up. But I don't know that there's a world with any kind of win that I would move Texas Tech off number 1.
No. There's only one way Texas Tech moves off number 1.
Yes. And that would be with a loss.
BYU at Arizona.
Okay. That's an interesting game. I think Noah Fafita is back to his Noah Fafita-ing ways. They might be able to score on BYU. Oh, West Virginia scored 27 on them.
Yeah. Arizona State, Utah. TCU,
yes,
Kansas
Arizona
State.
Arizona State, Utah is why I have them at 2-4, because whoever wins that game is going to be 2 next week.
Yeah. I don't think, since it's at Kansas State, that might be a game against TCU. Every one of these conference games besides Houston, Oklahoma State is interesting.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them. Like, do I think BYU is going to lose to Arizona?
It's a
No.
much better Big 12 week this week than it was last week.
Yes, yeah.